So let me pull it out and I'll show you what we're looking at right now. And it also comes in this little dust bag. The bag we're going to take a look at is a multi-pochette accessoire. Now, right off the gate, we're going to look at this bag from the point of view that your friend just walked up to you and she is carrying this bag, and you're going to really investigate it to see if you can tell if she's carrying the real deal or not. But from a completely objective standpoint, this dust bag and this box are typically not what this would come in. They're just not. But that doesn't matter from the way that we're going to review this bag, or the way that we're going to look at it and critique it. So first and foremost, right off the bat, I am going to have to grab my phone because I have my photos stored there that we're going to use for comparison. And the first photo I'm going to show you actually is just a bunch of measurements and information. And it says that this bag overall has dimension of 9.4 by 5.3 by 1.6 inches, which is actually referencing this largest piece back here. And you can see all those dimensions on screen right now. I'm not going to read all of them off. Just trust and believe that I measured this beforehand and the measurements check out. They are completely true and accurate. They match everything that you're seeing right now. Further down, it says that we have a khaki strap, which is the green colored strap. This comes with a green or pink strap in this canvas. I went with green. And it says the bags themselves are monogram coated canvas, trimmed in a natural cowhide leather, textile lining, gold colored hardware, removable adjustable strap. It says this chain strap is 14.6 inches long, and then the maximum strap drop on the longer removable strap is 22 inches. So, all that checks out again. Alright, so let's start with this first photo, and this is just going to be a face-on, front-facing picture, just like this. And we can see that the way that this front bag should be laid out is a little flower in each corner. Now, each of those little flowers are not completely shown on the canvas. They're lined up right at the edge. You know what I mean? So, if I get you up close and we look, we have that flower, the flower, the flower. And that is completely accurate. And then we have a Pochette tab on the front that says the name and Paris with yellow stitching. So that is all accurate. Okay, this next photo you're going to see, I want you to look at the piping on these two bags. When we zoom in here, you can see that the piping does not go all the way to the top on the bags. It does stop right down here, and then it gets sewn and tucked in. And if you can see in that photo, there's a finishing stitch that goes down each one of these right here at the top on the corners. So we have all of that is completely accurate as well. All right, and then we're going to zoom in again, and what we're going to do is we're going to look at the very bottom of this front pouch. And if you look at the front of this pouch, right around that piping again, what we see is that the very bottom of this pouch should have a line of those flowers that goes all the way around it, and it's just like the top leaf part of that flower is missing, right? It starts right above the center hole of that flower. So let's look at the bottom of mine. Now, let me turn it this way so you can see more of it. Now, if you can see mine, it's really close, but it's actually off just a tiny, tiny bit. This canvas is pushed over toward the front just a little bit more than it should be, actually. So these little flowers right here that I'm talking about should be pulled back a little tiny bit more than they are, because the bottom of this row of the canvas should be centered on the bottom, and you should have the flower here and the flower here evenly spaced on each side. So the canvas on the bottom of the bag I have right here is actually shifted over just a little bit. It's not bad, and it's not bad enough that if someone wasn't very, very familiar with this, that they wouldn't, or that they would notice, but it is something that I picked up on, so it's something I'm going to point out to y'all. Okay, the next photo we're going to look at actually shows the inside of these two pouches. So you can see they both have a brown textile lining. The smaller pouch in the front has no pockets, nothing in it, and then the larger pouch in the back should have one pocket with the tag. So we can see we have that brown textile lining, no pockets in the front pouch. And then in the back one, we have that same textile lining, and you do get the little, branding tag pouch right there. I couldn't think for a minute. Then this next photo, we're going to look at the hardware and the zippers, and we're going to zoom over a little bit. So each zipper should have an L and a V on it. So if we look at the zippers on here, I'm not sure how well this will focus for y'all to be able to see this. But if you can see there, we do have the accurate markings on the zippers. The zippers look like the same shape, the same coloration, hardware color, all of that. So hardware is accurate. And then we're going to go back really quickly to this first photo. Or I'm just going to show you the best photo I have of this. But one thing that got my attention when I received this was this chain. So this chain is completely accurate. It looks the exact same. There's no difference there. But I noticed that this chain does not have a clip itself. So the chain is made to clip onto the little clips on your smaller pouch here. And I thought that was a little strange, but that is completely accurate in how this was designed. So this chain will not go on the larger pouch. It only goes on the smaller one. But that is how it's designed. That is completely accurate. Now, if we zoom in here on these little logo tags on the front, we can see they have the branding in them. We can see they have yellow stitching across them. And then we can see they have a red trim. So if you can see that, that is all accurate as well. We have the yellow stitching across the top of the tag. We have the red trim. This looks a little bit brighter than it does in the photos, but this is actually fairly accurate. It is not a super, super bright red. It's looking brighter because of my ring light. So this does look accurate to me. Okay, this next photo is going to show us a picture of the back of the largest pouch. And if we zoom in here, we can see we should have 3 of the LVs right dead center. And on either side of the LV, we're going to have just a little tiny piece of one of those like hollow pointy floret parts that sticks out next to those. And that is totally accurate. So we have the little piece that sticks out. We have 1, 2, 3 right in the middle. Now let's see how well this one is lined up on the back. So at the very bottom here, it looks like we should have about half of a flower sticking up on the bottom. So that looks like it is lined up very well. We can look at the corners and see that each corner should have just a little tiny speck poking up and just a little tiny round bit on the corner here. And that looks accurate as well. So the top should be lined up with those same flowers, and that is correct again. That looks pretty accurate to me. The photo is taken more from this angle, so yeah, that looks lined up nearly perfect. And then I would imagine on the bottom of this one, yeah, this is how that front pouch should have looked on the bottom. We should have this row right here, dead center, with the flowers evenly spaced on either side. And then if we look at the front of this pouch, it should be laid out the same as the back. So we have the flowers across the bottom.
A bit more of a sheen to it. And normally when I see fake Louis Vuitton bags, they are too shiny. And so this is actually the opposite. You'll also feel it when I press down. The canvas is too thick and stiff. It should have a little bit of pliability. And while it still maintains its shape, it's still a little bit flexible. Whereas this one is too stiff. On the side leather tab of the authentic bag, it should have a stitched little triangle. It also should have Louis Vuitton Paris debossed in the leather and a pattern on the outside that is super crisp and clear. On the fake one, the triangle is stitched sloppily and it is too thick. It also has the Louis Vuitton Paris stamped on the leather, but you can see it is inconsistent in the depth of the debossing, and the pattern that is around it is inconsistent as well. Depending on the year, the leather tab on the other side of the bag may say where it was made. It could be France, Italy, or it actually could be another country, could be the US. So if your bag doesn't have the made in on this tab, do not freak out. It depends on the year that it was made. Since this bag doesn't have where it was made on the external leather tab, the interior should tell you exactly where it was made. this authentic bag was made in the US. On the fake tab, it says it's made in France, which checks out with the serial number. However, it is too bubbly and deeply embossed where it is hard to read. Something else that I noticed with the drawstring and the stitching is that it is super, super sloppy. If you look on the back, the authentic one has very uniform stitching, double stitching, and the fake one is the most sloppy stitching I've ever seen on a Louis Vuitton fake bag. And it looks like it's glued almost with like a very vague stitch. There should be a debossed Louis Vuitton logo on the strap leather. On the fake one, you can see the lettering is too close together and it is too extreme of a debossing. On the real bag, you can see that there is the Louis Vuitton logo debossed. It is a lot more subtle and it can fade with time. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I love comparing real and fake bags. I think it's super fascinating. They always have some weird characteristics and things that I've never seen before. And so I love sharing that with you guys. If you are looking for genuinely authentic luxury bags, including Louis Vuitton, head over to myclosetrocks.com where you can shop with confidence, and we have new arrivals almost daily. Thanks again.
They're supposed to be stitched equally. So if there's 4, there should be 4 on the other side. Now we see 4 on this side and 4.5 on the other side, which is stitched improperly. So here you have a 4.5, and here you have a 3.5. So again, I mean, these are all small details that you cannot see on pictures, especially the feel of the bag. But I mean, it's, at least I can return it because, you know, I proved that it's not like an authentic. So that's why before sending it back, I just wanted to make a small video so you guys can see that even on picture you can get like duped, like I did. Even if I have like several Louis Vuittons authentic that I purchased myself at the store, I wanted to have a vintage. So this one here is made in 97. Well, it's supposed to be made in 97. Okay, so it's on the 4th week of 1997. So it's supposed to be very soft. It's supposed to be very like smooth, which is not right now. And even here, like you can feel it that it's not an authentic. The leather is not soft, it's like more plastified. So I hope this video helped you guys to for your further purchase online, especially with vintage, because it's easily like,
you feel the slender profile of one handle when held in your grip. You can see this difference when you view the handbags from behind. The authentic tucks the front handle underneath the back handle so you can see both, and they're varying heights, while the fake has 2 handles of the same size, so they simply sit on top of each other. As many of you know, the Hermès signature orange paper reveals a hidden pattern under UV light. But you don't need to get that fancy to distinguish the difference between a fake and authentic box. Looking at the ink, the fake is a straightforward black, while the authentic appears like a deep chocolate brown and animates under light. Hermès's ink is thickly pigmented with a matte sheen, while the fake is flat and so thinly printed that you can see the paper beneath showing through. The corners on the authentic box are neatly finished and you can see the reinforcement beneath. Without this reinforcement, the paper on the fake lifts easily at the corners, and it's especially uneven inside the box where less care was taken by the factory. On the authentic box, the logo has an impression and you can feel this depth along with the texture of the paper when you run your fingertips over it. It's not simply ink on paper like the fake. Interestingly, the fake dust bags are sized smaller, so it shows an attitude of the factory to cut labour and material costs. Hermès's drawstring is all cotton, so it's super soft yet sturdy. But the fake drawstring feels cheap as it's thin and likely made of polyester, which gives it that plastic